All right, and we're live. So we got the ADCC Absolute. Should be a great competition here. Some ridiculous matchups, and that's what we're in it for. So first, I believe, is going to be Nikki Rod versus Andy Varela. Andy Varela, I believe. Oh, Lachlan is doing the absolute too. Oh, that is fascinating. He got third last time he did the absolute and was on some crazy heel hook victories. We got Yuri Samoans over here. Andy Varela versus Nikki Rod's a wild match. Andy trains at 10th Planet Las Vegas with my friend Mike Lady. I just did a podcast with Mike, and the I believe the head coach there is Andy Varela. I definitely know that he trains there, but he might be the coach as well. I believe that was Elder Cruz. And you got Cyborg in this thing. Someone's on crutches. Is that Wagner Hosha on crutches? I think so. I wonder why he's on crutches. By the way, I was breaking down the Gordon Ryan match before, and I re-looked at the leg lock transition. When Gordon went in, he went initially in like a cross Ashigurami position, but he held the toes, which prevents them from being able to turn in the standard direction when you are defending that technique, and then put the foot on the other side to transition to an outside heel hook. So we got, let's go to Nick Rodriguez versus Andy Varela as the first fight over here. And you also got Cyborg and and Yuri Samoans versus Lachlan Giles, another crazy fight. And you got Cyborg and Elder Cruz. Some crazy matches here. So far, I'm watching Nikki Rod versus Andy Varela. It's sort of like, which one do you watch? Let's see. Lachlan versus Yuri Samoans looks interesting. Yuri Samoans diving to do some north-south passing here on Lachlan. Lachlan trying to maintain proper frames with his knees. This is a crazy exchange. I don't know. Let me know in the comments who you want me to commentate. So far, we have Yuri Samoans fighting Lachlan Giles right now. We got Nick Rodriguez fighting Andy Varela, and we got Cyborg versus Elder Cruz. Let's check back in with Nikki Rod. Both still fighting in the standing position. All right, let's see Roberto Cyborg. And Cyborg and Elder Cruz are still fighting in the standing position. One of the craziest upsets of the tournament was when Cyborg faced that super tall black guy, Hassam Rita, or whatever his name is. And Cyborg got armbarred early on in the first round of the ADCC, which you don't normally see. All right, let's see Lachlan versus Yuri. Lachlan in a bit of a leg entanglement here. That's good news for Lachlan. That's bad news for Yuri Samoans. Let's see what he's doing here. Yuri Samoans is looking to pummel his legs out. It looks like he's able to do so successfully. You know, you need to have a newfound respect for Lachlan's ability to attack the legs, because the last ADCC he was able to make such waves in his leg attacks. But when you have such a veteran here like Yuri Samoans being multiple-time ADCC world champion, that is a tough guy to leg lock when he knows that you want to leg lock him. Lachlan using some inverted guard here. And the size difference is really clear. I mean, Yuri is just so much bigger than Lachlan. All right, let's see. Nikki Rod and Andy Varela, both still fighting in the standing position. Cyborg and Elder Cruz, both still fighting in the standing position. Lots of collar ties. And let's see, back to Lachlan Giles versus Yuri Samoans. Yuri aggressively trying to pass the guard of Lachlan Giles, looking for an over-under type pass, but Lachlan Giles was wise to it. Lachlan playing a lot of inverted guard here. I'm very interested in Lachlan's latest internet project of Submeta, where he's able to teach a extremely large library of jiu-jitsu technique and curriculum. He really is putting together one of the most in-depth curriculums I've ever seen on jiu-jitsu. Lachlan looking to play this inverted guard and fit his legs in. Yuri Samoans is looking close to a pass here. And Lachlan seems to have defended. 4:15 left in this match here. Nikki Rod and Andy Varela still fighting in the standing position. And same thing with Elder Cruz and Cyborg, still doing heavy collar ties in the standing position. Up, it looks like Nikki Rod got a takedown here, or at least ended up on top. Let's see what's going on over here. Yeah, Nikki Rod gets a beautiful double leg takedown here and immediately tries to pass to mount, but Andy defends it. Nikki Rod has been having a lot of success with this Roddy lock or body lock passing system. It has really served him well in this tournament. And he steps over the knee here, a knee being one of the critical lines of demarcation, and passes Andy Varela's guard. Beautiful stuff there from Nikki Rod. And makes his way to side control with a 5-0 lead on Andy Varela. Andy Varela recomposes his guard, and Nikki Rod's looking to pass once again. Let's see. Any developments in the Yuri and Lachlan match? Nope, doesn't appear so. Still 0-0 here with 2 minutes left in this match. Man, Yuri's just such a hard guy to leg lock here. I mean, he's just so experienced and able to adapt. That's one of Yuri's greatest attributes is his ability to adapt. He's very close to a pass to north-south here on Lachlan Giles. As close as you could be without getting the pass. And it looks like he's going to settle in, but Lachlan still has his legs sort of in between. Really amazing guard retention from Lachlan Giles here. And it looks like Yuri does pass. Wow. Lachlan Giles looking to put him back into the guard. Yuri Samoans gets a good positioning with his legs. And Lachlan, the crafty MFer that he is looking to come up with his upper body and make this a situation where it's not a clean pass. Wow. Amazing stuff here. In the other match, it looks like Nikki Rod's ahead 14-0 on Andy Varela. And I believe that should be enough with Yuri Samoans as close as you can get guard pass to give him some sort of I don't know how they're doing the absolute, if they're doing overtime and stuff. But if it was a referee's decision right now, Yuri Samoans would win. Wow, we got, looks like 17-0 here for Nikki Rod. That's a rough score. Andy Varela has to come back with a miracle submission here. Yep. Nikki Rod moves into mount. And that looks like that's it for Andy Varela. Lachlan Giles looks like he has a penalty too. That's no good. Lachlan being really flexible, really hard to move in this overtime. And we got an overtime round 2 here with Cyborg and Elder Cruz, where that's a 0-0. I could have told you that was going to happen. All right, let's see. Any comments? No? If you're watching, make sure to throw something in the chat. I love to respond to comments. So we have Nikki Rod moving on past Andy Varela. And it's looking like Yuri Samoans is ahead here in this match against Lachlan Giles. But Lachlan is definitely a submission expert and is always dangerous when he's fighting. I wonder if him working and instructing and creating so many videos on his website worked against him at all. In our next match, we have Victor Hugo versus Fabricio Andre. They're walking out now. Fabricio Andre showing a nice power up here, doing a Dragon Ball Z type motion. And he had an excellent match against Nicholas Marigale, where he suplexed Marigali. I believe he just poked Victor Hugo in the eye, so they're going to take a second for Victor Hugo. In the meantime, let's go back and see the Yuri Samoans versus Lachlan Giles match. Yuri really being heavy on Lachlan Giles' head here and not allowing Lachlan to progress into anything of significance. Amazing, though, that Lachlan Giles was able to fend off any guard passing attempts. I mean, some of them were so friggin' close that it's amazing that it wasn't a guard pass. Lachlan just able to get the last little millimeter of his knee in place to defend these guard passes. And like I tell my students, that's the 10% that's hard. We got 34 seconds left in this match. It's looking like it's going to be a victory from Yuri Samoans. In the Roberto Cyborg match, we have an update where Cyborg has Elder Cruz's back, which is great for Cyborg, with a 3-0 lead. Yeah, it looked like there was some misalignment there, and then Elder Cruz escapes from the back control. But Roberto Cyborg should win that. Not much time left. And that concludes the time with Yuri Samoans and Lachlan Giles as well. Kind of a bitter ADCC, losing the first round against the Tyrotolo and losing the first round against Yuri Samoans. So a tough tournament for Lachlan Giles, being such an expert in jiu-jitsu, knowing so much jiu-jitsu, but really wasn't able to showcase it this time around. I'm assuming Cyborg won his match, since it's no longer playing and he was ahead on points in the very last seconds. And let's see the Victor Hugo versus Fabricio Andre. Man, Victor Hugo is just a giant. A giant that has really good jiu-jitsu. It's also interesting, too, to see, like, in the David versus Goliath, the small guy versus the big guy, like, how much people's guard holds up. Like, Lachlan Giles was really doing some amazing, beautiful guard work against Yuri Samoans there, even with, like, probably like an 80-pound deficit. Maybe not that much, but, I mean, Yuri Samoans looked like a monster, and Lachlan looked like a child. Really aggressive guard play and guard attacking here from Victor Hugo and Fabricio Andre. Still 0-0 while they get the rest of their matches going. Looks like Cyborg is going to move on, and it looks like Yuri Samoans is going to move on as well. Man, Victor Hugo looks like a giant compared to Fabricio Andre. What a crazy match this is. Felipe Pena versus Roberto Jimenez. That should be a interesting match. And then Pedro Mourinho versus Tyrotolo. Another interesting, compelling match. There's a little bit of a glitch happening with the flow grappling system here. We have Felipe Pena trying to pass the guard of Roberto Jimenez. What a fascinating matchup between these two. Felipe Pena using some great leg pummeling to attempt to pass the guard of Roberto. Felipe Pena got caught in a guard pass from Nikki Rod earlier and had lost in his division, which was crazy to see. Felipe Pena got a little bit complacent in the guard position, and Nikki Rod took advantage, being the great competitor that he is. Aha! Now on the flow zone, they're getting their things in order a little bit more, where they're showing both matches at the same time. Oh, Felipe Pena passes right into side control, sort of falls into side control almost, and Jimenez looks like he's going for a buggy choke here. This is definitely a crazy tournament. Here we have Felipe Pena looking like he's going to transition to mount, using his hand to kill the hip, and looking to transition over. Roberto Jimenez starts defending it, so Felipe moves to a north-south situation. Roberto Jimenez has got to be careful because this is very close to a one arm in, one arm out situation. And Felipe Pena famously finished a beautiful triangle from a situation that's very similar to this. And Roberto Jimenez lifting Felipe Pena up into the air and almost recovered his guard. Wow. I didn't know Roberto Jimenez had the strength to be able to do that. Roberto really holding on to the head here and using some great tactics to look to try to recompose his guard. Unfortunately, none of them have worked, but he's really trying here against Felipe Pena. Felipe Pena looks like he's going to work to the mount here. And Pedro Mourinho and Tyrotola doing some aggressive hand fighting here, where Pedro Mourinho is literally just hitting Tyrotolo in the face. And looks like Felipe Pena moves into the mount position. That is a rough-looking mount. And man, yep, he's suffocating Roberto Jimenez. And he has Roberto Jimenez's arm all the way up above the head. Not a good place to be if you're Roberto Jimenez. You know, there's a tactic that I've seen a lot done in this ADCC tournament, and it is a great tactic that high-level players love to use, where they let you get back the ankle when you're in a position like the mount, and then they just use it to pass again. Not only is it great for scoring, but it's also great to demoralize your opponent. Wow, crazy takedown here from Tyrotolo on Pedro Mourinho. This is in this match. This is way more of a fight than a grappling match. This may as well be an MMA fight. Beautiful double leg takedown attempt from Pedro Mourinho. And Roberto Jimenez does a bridge and roll and escapes the mount from Felipe Pena. Felipe Pena looking for a shoulder crunch Sumigashi. Roberto Jimenez on top, passing from his bridge and roll escape. Unbelievable. And sort of almost gets past the guard, but Felipe Pena is able to transition. He's looking for the back. Roberto Jimenez gets 2 points. Amazing, but with Felipe on your back, this is very, very bad. This could easily be a submission here for Felipe. Felipe is one of the best finishers on the back, period. Roberto Jimenez doing a good job to try to escape, though. And he does sort of escape, but it just ends up in the bottom of the mount. Wow. A crazy situation. Wow. The Pedro Mourinho Tyrotola match, man, they should just put some friggin' gloves on and just start fighting. I mean, this is a bare knuckle fight. I can't remember in recent history seeing a grappling match this much like a fight. I mean, it's just both heavy collar ties, literally like throwing shots at each other's head. Felipe Pena puts his leg back into the half guard and passes. Beautiful execution of backtracking there, or what I used to call matrix passing before the Danaher Death Squad named it backtracking, where you just put yourself back into the guard. Felipe Pena up 7-2 now, and looks like he's going to do a beautiful back take on Roberto Jimenez. Roberto uses it to try to hop around to side control. And we have Giancarlo Bodini versus Hassam Rita, which is another crazy match. Giancarlo having probably the best tournament he's ever had. Let's check in with that match since it looks like Felipe Pena's got this one in the bag with a 10-2 score. Hassam Rita had a crazy upset victory against Cyborg via armbar earlier, and Giancarlo is probably having the best tournament of his entire life, where he won the 88 kilogram division. Really a breakout tournament for Giancarlo. And you got to appreciate Giancarlo fighting and fighting and fighting in all these tournaments, and working his way to the top. Hassam Rita is just such a weird guy to fight too, since he's like 6'7", and his limbs just make weird angles and movements that you don't have a lot of guys like that. Hassam Rita goes for a flying triangle. Giancarlo on a leg attack now, punishing that move. Hassan escapes. Giancarlo comes on top into a nice headquarters passing position. Hassam Rita playing a interesting like mantis guard where he gets the inverted De La Hiva. And Giancarlo transfers this to a position where he stack passes Hassan Rita. A great option for Giancarlo. I'd like to see him pass the leg over the head and look to turn this into a leg drag. A great tactic here from Giancarlo. Yes, he makes this into a leg drag. Beautiful stuff here from Giancarlo. Looking to grab the wrist and turn this into a textbook guard pass, which he does. Let's see if he could secure the points for it. Hassam Rita is sort of trying to turn his back in this situation. Giancarlo gets a seatbelt with a figure 4 at the same time, moving into a really tough position here for Hassam Rita. He gets a triangle setup where he has a beautiful back triangle as well. Oh, but does a sloppy job on the lockup. Oh, but he taps Hassam Rita out anyway with an Americana variation from this back triangle. He sort of exposed his legs to Hassam Rita there for a second, but Hassam Rita got caught in the Americana. Check out my video series on Americanas. I have a whole series on the Americanas and the higher percentage finishes in the Americanas on my YouTube channel for free. And one of the great places to do the Americana is in a triangle. Because of the head being isolated in the technique, it is so hard to defend from that position where it's not as high percentage in other areas. Vegeta, thank you for being part of the stream, Vegeta. Vegeta says, can you explain to me what the absolute division is? I would be happy to, Vegeta. Vegeta, the absolute division is a conglomeration of all of the other divisions in the ADCC where anybody of any weight can join the absolute division. So you start to get some really interesting matchups where people can come in from any weight category. We have a Tyrotolo versus Pedro Mourinho match. Looks like there was some outcome there. I don't know. Rotolo looks like he was ahead 5-0, but there might have been a submission while I was explaining what the absolute division. Vegeta, I hope that answered your question. Please let me know if it did. The absolute division is a conglomeration of all of the other divisions where anybody of any weight can fight each other. The previous divisions are 66 kilograms, 77, 88, under 99, and above 99. Here we have Nicholas Marigale versus Vinicius Tractor and Roberto Cyborg versus Victor Hugo. Let's see Nicholas Marigale. And anybody from all of those weight divisions can come together and fight in the absolute. So you get insane, crazy matchups. And the winner of the absolute division fights the super fight champion of the ADCC from the winner of the super fight. So, for example, if Gordon Ryan wins this super fight, he will fight the guy who wins this absolute division. Wow, Vinicius Tractor goes in and looks to double leg Nicholas Marigale. A solid double leg attempt. Vinicius Tractor seems very, very aggressive here. Looking to pass the guard of Marigali. Not an easy task. Let's check in. Usually Marigali likes to slow the pace down in his guard. Let's check in with Cyborg and Victor Hugo. Sean Clark says, when does the super fight start? Well, that's a great question, Sean Clark. I know it's running, everything's running late. Can't blame me. It's not my fault. But the super fight was supposed to start 8:30 Las Vegas time, and there's no way that's going to happen. Everybody is running behind schedule. So it's going to start as soon as the absolute division ends. That's the best answer I could give you, Sean Clark. I know a lot of people are just excited to see this Galvao versus Gordon Ryan super fight. And you got to wait till the absolute division ends to see it. Looks like Victor Hugo has a toehold here on Cyborg. Bad news for Cyborg. Oh, Cyborg's able to hide his feet. Good news now for Cyborg. But I'd be worried if I had Victor Hugo in this position on my legs. A really bad position here for Cyborg, where he could get his feet caught. Not a lot of great options to escape your legs. Oh, and Cyborg does rip his leg out, though. But he ends up in a similar position, almost the same position. Wow. But Cyborg's wise to it now and looks to go and pass. Wow, exciting exchanges here from Cyborg and Victor Hugo. Circles around and is going to do his famous transition to take the back here. Beautiful stuff. S mount, takes the back. This is big for Cyborg. Cyborg had an issue earlier in his previous fight where he was a bit misaligned to his opponent, and it resulted in an escape. And Cyborg still seems to be misaligned here with Victor Hugo. So I wonder what's going through his head. I could see him using his foot to try to realign them. Another option he could do here is he could chair sit, which it looks like that's what he's planning on doing now. Or taking the mount instead, crossing his feet underneath Victor Hugo. Exciting match here from Victor Hugo and Cyborg. Amazing Cyborg able to do this in his 40s. All right, let's see. Back to we also got Nikki Rod versus Yuri Samoans, another crazy match. I wonder if Nikki Rod and Felipe Pena are going to meet again in the absolute and what that match would look like this time. Vegeta says, wow, so would Gordon fight against the winner of the absolute tonight if he wins against Andre? Good question, Vegeta. But no, the super fight champion fights the absolute champion on the next ADCC. That's the next super fight that happens at the ADCC. It's the absolute champion versus the super fight champion happens at the next ADCC, which will probably be in 2 years. Even though, I don't know, every year the ADCC has been on odd years, and because of COVID, thank you, Vegeta. You said got it. I love it that I could help someone out and show them more about jiu-jitsu, even through the internet. Feel free to comment anytime, Vegeta. Like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'd be happy to answer any more of your questions. But some very, very interesting matches going on here. It looks like Cyborg is in another leg entanglement situation, in a heel hook now against Victor Hugo. Oh, and then Cyborg uses it to take the back. This is a crazy match between Cyborg and Victor Hugo. Both guys that really like to have a lot of movement in their strategy. Generally, you see big guys not moving as much, but these guys are not afraid to move around. They look like lightweights out here, and I mean that in a complimentary way. So far with Marigali versus Vinicius Tractor. Maybe they're doing some replays. Oh, but it looks like Tractor got an injury and had to pull out of the fight. And Danaher's whispering something in Marigali's ear that made Marigali smile. All right, let's see. Nikki Rod versus Yuri Samoans. Swan, you're back. And also Felipe Sereno. Hey, just got in here and saw that Vegeta asked the question I was intended to. What is the absolute division and how is it formed? Well, Philippe, I'd happily answer this question again. Philippe, the absolute division is a conglomeration of the other divisions. You can sign up for the absolute if you competed in the ADCC, and it's any weight class. So people from the 66 kilogram, 77, 88, 99, and plus 99 can all sign up and fight together in the absolute. So a lot of times you see crazy matches where you see people of any weight category fighting people of any other weight category. And that's what we're watching now. And as I was explaining to Vegeta, the winner of the absolute division and the winner of the super fight champion will be the next super fight at the next ADCC. Swan says, do you think they should have done the Hall of Fame today or saved it for another day? Well, Swan, it has been a long day of jiu-jitsu fights. You know, in one sense, you got to honor the guys who came before us. I'm looking at the hairdo of the referee here in the Nikki Rod match. He's got the craziest hairdo I've ever seen. It's just one patch of hair on his head. If you're watching, let me know how crazy his hairdo is. But in one sense, you got to honor the great champions and legends of the past as we stand on the shoulders of those giants. However, you know, it is a bit of a long day, and I think a lot of people are going to bed instead of seeing the Gordon Ryan versus Andre Galvao match. So I'm a little bit torn in between both ways for that answer. You're welcome, Felipe. No problem. Happy to answer any questions you have. If you guys can throw me a subscribe, that would mean a lot. I really appreciate that. So far, watching the Nikki Rod versus Yuri Samoans match. A lot of collar ties happening. A lot of stand-up aggression going on. Wow, the Cyborg and Victor Hugo match, 1 minute 24 seconds left, and still no score. You got another comment here. Loving the comment section. Sean Clark says, how much does it cost to watch it? I believe you have to have a subscription to Flow Grappling, and I believe they charge $149 for the year, and they don't have a single fee for if you only want to watch the ADCC. You got to sign up for an entire year. So that's kind of annoying, but you could always watch my commentary instead. So $149 for one event is a little bit crazy to me, but they have monthly options too, and it's exclusively on Flow Grappling. $18 seconds left in this quarterfinals match between Cyborg and Victor Hugo. Let's see, Felipe Pena versus Tyrotolo. Now that's a match I have to watch. A lot of times you see guys like Felipe Pena in his last match against Roberto Jimenez was able to take the back and really getting some effective aggression going from the back. But man, the size difference here between Felipe and Rotolo is just so massive. I just don't know how Rotolo is going to make this up. Tyrotola in on a single leg, though. He's not going to go down without a fight. And Tyrotola on a legitimate takedown attempt where he slaps Philippe's head and he goes for the foot sweep at the same time off the single leg. Beautiful stuff there from Tyrotola, gotta say. Both guys really exchanging and fighting in the standing position here. Looks like Cyborg is ahead 2-0 against Victor Hugo, both with a penalty each. And what's going on with Nikki Rod and Yuri Samoans? Both of them are still fighting in the standing position. Part of Nikki Rod's style is I haven't seen him play guard once. And I think, in a way, he has to force his way on top, which will end him in a standing battle for as long as it takes. All right, back to Felipe Pena versus Tyrotola. Wow, 10 viewers. Love that. All right, hold on. Vegeta says, how much does it cost to watch it? I mean, Sean Clark says, how much does it cost to watch it? I already answered that, I think. And then he sent a monkey emoji with the hands over the eyes and a thumbs up. Vegeta says, does Gracie Baja have kids programs and self-defense programs, or is it competition focused? I have one close to my house, and I'm new to the sport. Well, thank you for asking, Vegeta. I can't speak exactly for the Gracie Baja that's close to your house, but I'm a black belt in under a Gracie Baja school. Wow, Tyrotola here on a huge body lock takedown, almost gets it on Felipe Pena. Amazing stuff here. Tyrotola really impressive here in his relentless and persistent attack against Felipe Pena. Felipe Pena might do a transition where they're in 50-50 guard now, where he goes around the leg and looks for a knee bar. And I think Tyrotolo is understanding of what's going on and correctly adjusts. And wow, Tyrotolo looks to come up out of this and get top position. Unbelievable work here from Tyrotola. Tyrotola looking to throw a Barambolo on Felipe Pena too, but Felipe Pena wise to it. Anyway, sorry, Vegeta. Just some crazy action, crazy scrambling going on in this match. So I can't speak on the particular Gracie Baja that you are next to, but I would say that there's almost nothing to put your kids in that's better than jiu-jitsu. If they want real self-defense and they want real character development from a martial art, I think jiu-jitsu is the way to go. I think it's one of the best things that you could do for your kids. I was put in martial arts as a young kid, and it totally changed, saved, and made my life. And I would not be nowhere near where I am without it. And I think it's one of the best things that you could do for your kids and for someone that you love. So Vegeta, I recommend highly that you check out that Gracie Baja school, see if you like it. Even though I am part of the Gracie Baja network or whatever, I would see multiple jiu-jitsu schools in your area and see which one that you like the best, and then sign your kid up for the one that you guys like the best. Doesn't have to be Gracie Baja. And you want a school too that is aware of your goals. So if one of your goals is I want self-defense for my child, then they should be able to help you achieve those goals. And a good school will be not only focused on winning competitions, like you're saying, but also will be focused on helping you achieve any goals that you have as well. Any class structure I would recommend that has a good fundamentals program is also something to ask and look out for as well. So I hope that answers your question, Vegeta. Any more questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And thank you so much for participating. Here we have Felipe Pena in a crazy leg lock exchange here with Tyrotolo. Really impressed with the fight that Tyrotolo has put up in. Thank you for the thumbs up, Vegeta. In this fight, where, my goodness, what a crazy fight this has been. And way to go, Tyrotolo, for making this a really, really close fight here. This is not an easily won match for Felipe Pena by any stretch of the imagination. Tyrotolo on some near passing attempts where he looks like he's going to end up almost in north-south here. Felipe Pena defends, though, and is looking to get in on a leg entanglement or take the back. This is a similar way that he took the back of Roberto Jimenez. They're slipping a little bit here on the mat. Crazy, crazy stuff. This could also be a situation where Tyrotola exhausts Felipe Pena and makes it difficult for Felipe Pena's next match with this high pace that Ty is trying to stay with here. Felipe Pena, I think, feeling this and putting him in 50-50 guard just to slow him down. And what's this? Felipe Pena has a negative point here. Unbelievable. So Tyrotolo's in the lead, and if nothing else, Tyrotolo will win this match on the negative point of Felipe Pena. So Felipe Pena has to do something in the next 1 minute 45 seconds of this round. Unbelievable. Felipe Pena looking over at the clock in disbelief that he is down on the scorecards. This would be one of the biggest upsets in history if Tyrotolo was able to defeat Felipe Pena here. How would a prime Bruno Malfacine stack up against the modern day lighter weights, says Whiskey Dragonfly? Well, that's an interesting question, Whiskey. Bruno Malfacine is definitely a monster. A prime Bruno Malfacine? Whew. That's a tough one. Felipe Pena looking to try to come up here on a sweep, gets a back body lock, and he's looking like he's going to try to attack the back here. Tyrotolo is trying to defend the hooks, but I don't know. 30 seconds left. It's really coming down to the wire here. If Tyrotolo can escape this position, then he wins. But if Felipe Pena could put the hook in, then Felipe wins. 16 seconds here. If Tyrotolo can avoid this hook, he might win this match. Felipe Pena going for the rear naked choke, looking to put the hook in. And time. Are you kidding me? Tyrotolo wins this match? Wow. Tyrotolo beats Felipe Pena in the absolute unbelievable win there from Tyrotolo. Maybe the craziest win of the whole tournament. Holy crap. Tyrotolo defeats Felipe Pena in the ADCC Absolute Division. Okay, how would Prime Bruno Malfacine stack up against the modern day lighter weight guys? Well, Prime Bruno Malfacine fought a lot of gi competition, so it depends if you're talking about how he would stack up against the lightweights in the ADCC or how he would stack up against the lightweights in the IBJJF. Bruno Malfacine in the IBJJF gi competitions. Bruno Malfacine is like a 10-time world champion. So I would assume Prime Bruno Malfacine would still do really well in the rooster weight divisions. My friend Kevin, he is like ranked 11 in the world in the rooster weight division, and the top rooster weights are damn good. Here we got Giancarlo versus Nicholas Marigale here. Another absolutely insane matchup. I was just rewatching the highlights of the Tyrotolo versus Felipe Pena match. Unbelievable victory there for Ritola. Really fought his heart out and came out with the victory. Can't believe Tyrotola beat Felipe Pena. That's insane. It looks like Giancarlo is on a was on a leg lock here on Nicholas Marigale, but Marigali escapes. Marigali looking to threaten the back. Giancarlo having the tournament of his life here. I know Gordon's definitely going to make fun of Felipe for losing to Ritola. That's guaranteed. Watch out for that. That's coming on Instagram when you guys are ready for it. Or even if you're not ready for it. Let's see what Giancarlo could do here, though, against Nicholas Marigale. Nicholas Marigale in a headquarters type position, and it's really important to be able to understand in these fights, in these transitions, who is winning. Nicholas Marigale wants to get in a headquarters position where he's much closer to passing. Right now, he is in a knee cut position, and Giancarlo is looking to defend. But if you're in one of Giancarlo's guards, Giancarlo has the advantage. But if you're in a staging position like headquarters or a knee cut, you are ahead and you are winning the passing exchanges, and you're closer to a pass. So understanding who's winning in a subtle sense of advantage is important when you are in this guard play versus guard passing scenario. And that is the current battle that Giancarlo and Nicholas Marigale are having at the same time here. This is a tough match for both guys. I wonder how they do in the gym together, because they both train at New Wave Jiu-Jitsu under Danaher. If Marigali came in as the Gi Absolute champion, oh, yep, he looks to Toriando Giancarlo's legs out of the way, and I believe they are still before the points period here, gets to knee on belly, and passes the guard of Giancarlo. I wonder if he's got that like power over Giancarlo, like that he's been kicking his ass for a while in the gym and like knows his reactions and is able to use that against him. Like knows where he can win against Giancarlo and use that to win in this fight. Nicholas Marigale is a tough guy to go against, being the absolute Gi world champion of the world, and is a tough guy in any tournament whatsoever. I'm still completely in shock. Oh, Nicholas Marigale looks to mount kind of in a sloppy way, and Giancarlo uses it to retain his guard here. Giancarlo looking for a false reap into a cross ashigrami entrance, Great work there from Giancarlo, but Marigali uses it to control the head of Giancarlo, preventing Giancarlo from completing the necessary inversion for him to be able to get to the leg attacks for the false reap here. Marigali's going to work, doing some beautiful, excellent passing here, looking to get a quarter Nelson, looking to get a seatbelt, and then looks to transition to the back here. Beautiful work, and looks that he's secured the body triangle on Giancarlo. Giancarlo has had the best tournament of his life by far, and finally someone has put a stop to the dominance that Giancarlo was showing here with a 3-0 lead from Nicholas Marigale. Marigali also has this thing where if he loses his division, which he did, he lost to Craig Jones on the most razor-close referee decision of all time, he gets angry and fired up to do the absolute. And I think you're seeing that here in his match with Giancarlo. I still think the most impressive tournament win was Tyrotolo beat Felipe Pena. That is the craziest victory I've seen of this tournament, in my opinion, so far. Giancarlo looking to get his back to the mat, and it's looking like he's going to sort of escape into the mount position here with Marigali. Marigali still has his feet almost locked in this body triangle underneath him, which makes for a difficult situation. Yeah, he turns it back into a back control situation here, and kind of rough day at the office here for Giancarlo with Marigali on your back with 2 minutes left at a 6-0 deficit. I can't remember the last time I've seen Marigali submitted. So for Giancarlo to be able to turn this around, it's looking like it's a very low chance to make up the point deficit or to be able to submit Marigali here. So this one should be a victory from Marigali. Giancarlo working hard, though, here. Escapes the back, gets to mount, puts Marigali in half guard, and then reestablishes his knee shield. Beautiful stuff there from Giancarlo. If he could pull off a submission on Marigali here, that would be incredible. And who knows? Giancarlo is having the tournament of his life. He's just on fire. And you just never know with Giancarlo being so dominant here today. These matches are crazy. The absolute is just absolute chaos, and you got to respect the absolute chaos. Giancarlo looking to sort of wrestle up here, but Marigali sees it, puts him in a front headlock type scenario. And the clock is not in Giancarlo's favor here. They're both back to the standing position. A frustrating spot for Giancarlo to be in. Giancarlo looking for a takedown. Looks like he's going to get the takedown, making it a 2-6 here on the scorecards. But the question is, how do you pass Marigali's guard? That's a question that nobody has been able to answer yet today so far. 30 seconds left. And let's see, Giancarlo trying his best to pass this very complicated, difficult guard here of Nicholas Marigale. Marigali off balances, gets him into X guard. Giancarlo looking to take the back, though. It's too little, too late. And Marigali takes the victory for a 6-2 lead and finally stops the train that is Giancarlo Bodini. King Jake says, yo, I've been sleeping with yo girl. Check her phone. Love that. Thanks, King Jake. Cade over Galvao was nice too. Yes. Tyrotolo's brother, Cade, had a nice victory. Over Mika Galvao. King Jake says, it's under the name Jake. Check her phone, bro. I promise you, just check. Shout out to King Jake for pretending to sleep with my girl. Much appreciated there. He says, you'll see she's cheating. Yo, your girl is cheating on you with me. Thank you, King Jake. Take her off my hands. She's yours. All right. We got, hey, Vegeta. Yes, almost every GB I've trained at had them. Huntington, California, Irvine, California, and a couple others as well. Yes, put your kids in jiu-jitsu. They will thank you for it. Vegeta says, don't feed the trolls. Vegeta, if you know me, you know I couldn't give a shit less about the trolls. They literally have zero effect on me, and they don't bother me whatsoever. I'm from New York, so we used to talk way more massive shit to each other than any of these trolls could ever come up with. So I challenge the trolls. I challenge you, King Jake. Do a better job in trolling me. Let the trolls come for me. But thank you, Vegeta. I appreciate it. Big respect to you, and I hope you put your kid in jiu-jitsu. So far here we got Roberto Cyborg versus Yuri Samoans with a 0-0 score. My prediction for this one is 0-0 score all the way through, and it will go to overtime, and then there will be a 0-0 score there, and then there will be a referee's decision. That's my thoughts. So far, that is the only match going at the moment. I would love to take a look at how the brackets are. There's been so many matches, such a discombobulation of matches. It's hard to say who's in the finals. But let me know in the chat, guys, what victory was more impressive from the Rutolo brothers? Was it Cade Rutolo submitting Mika Galvao in the finals of the 77 kilogram division? Or was it Tyrotolo beating Felipe Pena in the absolute? Both of those are absolutely ridiculous victories. Whiskey Dragonfly says, random question, isn't it weird when the referee is affiliated with the opposed gym that you're competing against? Yes, Whiskey, that is weird. But jiu-jitsu is a very small community, and sometimes, you need referees for your tournament, and the referees belong to the neighboring schools in the area. And who's competing at those tournaments? The neighboring schools in your area. So sometimes it happens. Obviously, it's not a ideal thing to happen. I've seen it happen with my teammates. I can't think of a scenario that it's happened with me in the tournaments that I did, but yeah, that is a whack situation. I mean, I've seen so many tournaments, so many scenarios where I know the referee didn't understand the rules of that tournament. I know the referee didn't understand what's allowed in certain age groups or categories of belt level. I've seen just absolutely awful refereeing in my days in jiu-jitsu, and that's why you just got to come out there and have submission on your mind, because in all of these tournaments, if you submit the guy, you win. And That's what your jiu-jitsu should be geared towards. And, not that Cyborg and Yuri Samoans don't have good submissions here, but just the way that they compete a lot of times results in this 0-0 type score. And it's not as exciting for the viewers to watch. Ken Kim says Cade over Mika was more impressive. I don't know, Cade. Cade over Mika was impressive. I believe Mika made a bit of a technical mistake. There's two ways that you can lock your legs on a calf slicer attempt, where you either lock your legs on the inside or you lock your legs on the outside. And you have to be careful with how you lock your legs, because if you lock it in one of them, it's more exposed to leg locks, which was the scenario that happened in that fight. And it was sort of a crazy occurrence for Cade to take advantage of that and heel hook him off of that transition. I'll have to look at the tape again just to make sure I have it exactly correct with the position. But if you're in a heel hook situation, you're not able to turn out of it. A lot of times you have to tap. And the same is true for a lot of different leg locks. For example, a toe hold. If you're caught in a toe hold and you have no ability to turn out, you should tap in the toe hold, because all the toe hold will be then is just cranking on your foot. So it's important to be able to tap when you're in any sort of twisting lock and you cannot defend. Vegeta said, oh, I got to answer Ray's thing. Ray said all GB academies have pretty much the same basics. They like to have consistency in fundamentals, like twins, kind of tied on the level of impressive wins. I guess he was saying, yeah, the Tyrotolo twins are tied on their impressive wins there. I sort of agree. Felipe Pen is a crazy guy to have a win over, who's many weight categories above you and is ADCC absolute champion. For Ty to have won that match is insane. Vegeta says, what do you think needs to happen for the sport to grow into the mainstream? I think that's a multifaceted question, Vegeta. I think that events like this ADCC are really great, where you're putting millions of dollars into jiu-jitsu here, and the production value of this event has been great, but I still think it has a lot to go. Certainly, if you get guys that are able to promote themselves more, that's certainly a major advantage. If you have more Gordon-type guys out there who are compelling in the sense that you really want to watch them fight and you really want to watch them compete, is helpful. And, it's just such a multifaceted question. It would help if it was in the Olympics. It would help if it was on more platforms, on more TV. The EBI was on UFC Fight Pass for a while, which was great. You see One Championship putting jiu-jitsu matches in on their MMA cards, which is a great tactic for more exposure. So I don't think it's one particular thing that needs to happen for jiu-jitsu to become mainstream. I think that as a whole sport and a whole organization, we need to rise on many levels for it to become mainstream and continue to grow in the way that it has. But certainly having more fighters that are interesting and compelling to watch could only do good things for the sport. Charles Whiskey Dragonfly says Charles Oliveira versus Eric Wisely was a crazy scramble transition into a calf slicer. I believe I know the transition you're talking about, Whiskey Dragonfly. And yes, the calf slicer is a great move. When you really get the calf slicer, it's another one of those submissions where you just absolutely have to tap. And I was a huge fan of Marcelo Garcia back in the day, and I would always want to create a system where I was coming up at the same time Gordon Ryan was coming up, and I wanted to transform Marcelo Garcia's ability to get underneath you into a leg locking system that would be effective. And I was working on a calf slicer system where you see a lot of guys like Felipe Pena and Felipe Andrew, who are at the very, very top of the gi world championships, using a bear trap or calf slicer system in with their X guard and entries and being able to get underneath people. And then I saw Gordon and I saw Gary competing in their ability to get into heel hooks from the same position. And I was like, wow, this is going to take over, because they have figured out that there's a weakness in the game where people can always get underneath other people's base and get into these X guard or leg locking type positions, and then adding the great finishing ability that didn't exist years ago. So I have records of talking to Gordon in 2014 when we were blue and purple belts that he was going to be the champion that he is. And it's all over. It's on my Facebook account. And I have posts saying that Gordon Ryan's going to be absolute champion of the world. And people were making fun of me back then, but now he is. And that initial startup was from that mastery of the heel hooks in that domain. Anyway, Ken Kim says, true, I was thinking on the level that Pena's mystique was kind of destroyed by Gordon. Mika has been looking amazing lately. Yeah, I mean, Pena did not look so good in his loss versus Nikki Rod, and then his loss against the Tyrotolo is really bad. And there is something to be said, Ken Kim, for this sort of air of invincibility that someone will have. And once that air of invincibility is sort of taken away, then they look more beatable, and psychologically they seem more beatable. I think it's sort of like when someone broke the 4-minute mile, then it became very common for people to break the 4-minute mile. And same thing goes for the air of invincibility. You see it in MMA, you see it in a lot of different tournaments as well. Here we have Tyrotolo going to be facing off against Nicholas Marigale. That should be a great match as well. If Tyrotolo can beat Marigali here, which I doubt, that would be if Rotolo wins this ADCC Absolute, that would be the most impressive route to ADCC Gold, that ADCC Absolute Gold that anyone's ever had. You know, you see a knee brace here on Tyrotolo's knee. I would not be surprised if he got injured in that last match that he had against Felipe Pena. And you see here too, Tyrotolo really keeping his elbows really close to his body. And there's something to be said for that, because, you know, I was learning this in Danaher's latest instructional about standing to ground. And if your elbows are closer to your body, then you have such strength in your positioning. And if someone reaches out to grab your hands in this strong position, then you have ability to move and adjust their hands. So sometimes when your hands are in this T-Rex type position and you don't reach out and overextend yourself where people can go underneath you and do shots on you, you're actually in a superior control position, even if they have a grip on you, if your hands are close to your body like that. And you see Tyrotolo sort of imploring or applying this strategy against Marigali. So far, 0-0 here for Marigali and Tyrotolo. And they're doing the replay here of Yuri Samoans versus Roberto Cyborg. Ray says, BJJ has grown tremendously. I remember the very first IBJJF World Nogi as I was a scorekeeper and remember the attendance. Today, there is multiple times more attendees. Yes, I agree with Ray. Jiu-Jitsu is a very young sport. A lot of these other sports have been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And Jiu-Jitsu has not been around for very long at all. You can make a case that it was born in the early 1920s, but it really only came into mainstream when the UFC happened in 1993, where jiu-jitsu was kind of exposed to the world. But many arguments you can make on that, as there have been grappling techniques for a very long time, and what's the true date of the real origination of jiu-jitsu. All right, so watching here, Tyrotolo versus Marigali. 6 minutes, 54 seconds left in this match. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. Marigali clearly being a little bit more cautious here. Where I'm pretty sure at the World Championships, Marigali actually lost his weight division, and then he won the absolute division. And it would not so much shock me. Oh, a Darce attempt here from Tyrotolo on Marigali. This is a deep Darce attempt. This would be insane if Tyrotolo could get this as his victory. Can Marigali defend this Darce? It's super close here, super tight. Oh, Marigali slips out of the Darce. Unbelievable. Tyrotolo going for the buggy choke. Oh my gosh. It was this close to being finished. Wow. Unreal. Unreal. Marigali was wincing in that Darshok. Unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for being active in the chat. Please feel free to throw some more comments in the chat. I like to respond to all of them. And I appreciate so much everyone here watching the stream. If you can throw a subscribe, that really helps me out, but no pressure here. Wow, amazing Darce choke attempt there from Tyrotolo. One of the most underdeveloped moves, in the sense that the defense of the move is very rarely known. And it's great to see Marigali be able to defend that Darce choke. You know, it's funny too. A lot of people say that the Darce choke originated under Danaher's academy, which is from Marigali's camp, by a guy named Joe Darce. But, you know, then there's the whole argument of, are jiu-jitsu moves really invented, or are they discovered? And any move that you've seen has already been used already, and it's already, you know, you're just rediscovering a move that already exists. Four minutes, 13 seconds left in this match here, but I would not be surprised if Marigali comes out and wins the absolute here, like he did in the Gi World Championships. Let's see. Who does he have to fight? I wonder who won with the Cyborg versus Yuri Samoans match. If anyone knows who won that match, throw it in the comment section. Tyrotolo is clearly exhausted here. He's thrown a foot sweep. It looked more like it was a kick. Throws another kick. Looks to grab a low single leg against Marigali. One thing you got to respect about Marigali, too, is Marigali is really a seasoned competitor. I mean, not that Tyrotola isn't, but Marigali really knows how to be efficient with his energy. And like at the Worlds where he had so many fights, I think double-digit amount of fights. Oh, great scramble here between Marigali and Tyrotolo. Marigali looks to lift Tyrotolo up, take his back. Great, crazy scramble here. And is he able to put Tyrotolo down? It's looking very close. Up Marigali goes to try to take the back. And Tyrotolo scrambles out of it. Oh my gosh. What a crazy, crazy match. You know, one thing we're seeing here too in the absolute is people with longer limbs, people that are much bigger, sort of have an advantage in the ability to got something in my eye, in the ability to take the back, where their limbs could sort of be used to their advantage in their length to find the angles necessary to get to the seatbelt, to get to the control with their legs, to get to the S mount, and to be able to put the hooks in. Leg length is showing and proving to be an advantage in that realm of being able to attack the back. Ray says, is this the absolute final? No, I believe this is the semifinal with Tyrotolo and Marigali. And I think the final was of whoever won between Roberto Cyborg and Yuri Samoans. Looks like Marigali has an inside single leg here. Does a crazy foot sweep on Tyrotolo and looks to take the back here of Tyrotolo, really hunting the back position. Looks to go leg drag here. A leg drag should be enough to count takedown points and be able to successfully score a takedown here for Marigali. Marigali is able to connect his hands. This is close. If Marigali can score a takedown here, this will be huge. 23 seconds left. Marigali is using his hand and his leg to pin the limbs of Tyrotolo here. Tyrotolo looking to go in on a leg attack, making it so that's not a takedown. And time. I guess they're going to have to go to overtime here. Tyrotolo really crafty there and avoiding the points on that takedown. Unbelievable, really, to avoid takedown points there. And he was in a bad situation, too. So I guess he was attempting a leg attack, but it did not look good, the position that he was in. Again, if Tyrotolo here can beat Marigali in this match, that would be incredible. I think how it works is there's going to be a bit of a break, and then the final will be a little bit later. I want to see here. Remember, I said Gordon Ryan is going to be talking shit on the fact that Felipe Pena lost that match. Gordon already said, "Imagine after today thinking Pena could beat me." I laughed my ass off. It didn't take long for Gordon to be talking that shit. But I think all the athletes get to rest for a little while from the fighting the absolute, and then the absolute is going to be in a little bit of time from now. Let's see here. I'm trying to look up the exact timing here. Well, I better stay focused on the match. Looks like Marigali has an inside single leg here. 3 minutes left. Marigali gets to the back body lock here. If this goes to a decision, it should go to Marigali for his dominance, but Tyrotola has nothing to be upset over here. This is a wild, wild fight. Ray says the super fight has to be next to allow for a rest. It might be. I don't know, Ray. I just don't know. All right, they reset the positions here. 0-0. Marigali looking to take the back. He's got his seatbelt. He's got an arm trapped on Rotolo. And Rotolo comes up on top. Rotolo now on a back body lock. Two minutes, 10 seconds left here. Marigali does a rough roll through and escapes from this back body lock. A beautiful Granby. One minute, 46 seconds. Either way, what a impressive victory from Rotolo. That he had over Felipe Pena. One minute, 10 seconds left here. This might go to a referee's decision, and to that, I don't know who's going to win. I guess I give the slight edge to Marigali, though. Frankie says, is it normal for ADCC to be on this late at night? Well, this is happening in Las Vegas, so they are a couple hours behind Eastern Standard Time. But tournaments are notorious for running late and running into the wee hours of the morning. I can think of many times where I was coaching or competing where the tournaments ran way late. I was one time competing at a Naga tournament, and they were 12 hours behind. So even them being 2 or 3 hours behind here is nothing compared to what I've seen. Really crazy, aggressive hand fighting here from both guys in the last seconds. And it's going to go to a referee's decision here between Marigali and Tyrotolo. But man, what a day for both of these guys. Referees are all talking it over. And your winner is Nicholas Marigale advances. Beautiful victory for Marigali. I believe that was the last match of the semifinals for the absolute, and the only thing left then would be the finals match. Here you see this Darshok attempt that was very tight and very close from Ritola. Amazing, really. All right, let me see here what the schedule is for the absolute. All right. So we got it says the open division final is going to happen before the Gordon Ryan versus Andre Galvao super fight. And apparently it's going to take 15 minutes to go from the open division to the open division final. So Nicholas Marigale, I guess, has 15 minutes rest to wait for the final of the open division. I guess I'll just stay on the live right now. If you want, please throw in some comments. I'd be happy to respond to anybody's questions. And while we wait for Marigali to rest up, and I believe Cyborg is on the other side of the bracket. If anyone knows who won the Cyborg Yuri Samoans match, please let me know as well. It says here that the super fight is supposed to be at 8:30, but that's Las Vegas time. So I don't know. Frankie says, is Nikki Rod still in it? No, I guess not. But then the question is, who did Nikki Rod lose to? Ray says, I can't wait to see that match and how he lost a ref's decision with a Dars. So close, I need to see it. Yeah, it was a great match, Ray. That Darshok was super, super close. You saw Marigali look to defend, where I don't want to ruin any of it for you, but he was looking to push the elbow to escape from that Darshok. And then he made a little bit of enough space on this side, and then he slipped out on the other side. And amazing escape to a deep Dars from the Rotolo brother. Do you think if Gordon beats Galvao that this would make him the best jiu-jitsu fighter ever? No gi. I think in a lot of ways he already is the best jiu-jitsu fighter, no gi, ever. And I think if he wins, it would just cement him more as the best jiu-jitsu fighter, no gi. I had the pleasure of training at the Atos ADCC camp when I was in California, and I got to see Galvao preparing for his match against Cyborg, which was the super fight of the 2015 ADCC. And Derek says, is Gordon going to fight Andre soon? I got to work early in the morning. Thanks. Derek, I'd love to have you. I respect you. I appreciate you. I thank you for commenting. But with all due respect, brother, it's going to be a while before Gordon and Andre fight. So what I was telling my friends who have to work early tomorrow morning, that Carl's comment made me laugh. Sorry. That just go to bed, and it's not going to be for another couple hours here. So yeah, it says coming up next, the absolute finals. Oh, I guess Kevy says that Yuri Samoans defeated Nikki Rodriguez via judge's decision. Interesting. Thank you, Kevy. Really appreciate that. Carl says, thanks for commenting. This is for us cheap guys who don't want to spend the money. Love that, Carl. I'm a cheap Jew as well. And just to prove my cheap Jewness, this isn't even my account. This is my friend's account that I am watching it on. So shout out to all of the cheap mother effers in the chat with me. Swan says, it says on Flow, Ty wins by forfeit. I appreciate you guys laughing. Thanks, guys. That's not true. Ty did not win by forfeit. He lost by ref's decision. But it says on Flow, Ty wins by forfeit. Swan, what match are you talking about? I'm a little bit confused by that comment, Swan. Derek throws an emoji, and people are laughing at my jokes and my cheap Jewness. And Ken says, cheapness for the win. Frankie said, who's left in the tournament? It looks like it's going to be a final against whoever won with Yuri Samoans and Roberto Cyborg. If anyone knows who won that match, please let me know. It's ridiculous that I don't know who's in the final. Against Nicholas Marigale. It was just such a slow ref's decision between those two guys. I did not see it. Oh, Doug says Cyborg lost. Thank you, Doug. And I was more interested in the Tyrotolo versus Marigali match. So I was already over in that match already. The third place match is with Cyborg versus Tyrotolo. Yikes. And the final is Yuri versus Nicholas Marigale. All right. I can respect that. Thank you, Kevy Metal. Okay, Whiskey Dragonfly says, do you advise escaping from the Dars to frame from the inside elbow to hip, or to dive for a single leg and scramble? Well, I have my own theories on defending the Darshok. I think that most people have zero knowledge or what to do at all when you're in a Darshok. I think, of course, prevention is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So preventing the Darshok from even happening is important. When a strangle is locked on fully, things can become tough. But as with any any strangulation that involves the arm, there is a major idea of pushing the arm that's in the strangle into the neck to successfully get the strangle. So if you're looking to finish chokes with an arm in sight, it's all about how do you get the shoulder into the neck to plug the carotid artery on this side. And if you're defending, it's all about how do you create separation to do that. And there's many different ways to use the arm that you have within the Darce choke to be able to make space and open up the space between shoulder and neck, using underhooks, using the floor as leverage, and being able to escape by the separation of that shoulder to neck. And also being able to push on the elbow when you are in a Darce choke to unlock the hook, to push this elbow off, is another effective tool that you could use while you're in the Darce choke. But I got some more comments here. Maybe Swan was saying that Ty won the third place bronze medal match from forfeit from somebody like Cyborg or something. I don't know. Frankie says, do you think Gordon versus Nikki Rod was the most anticipated match other than the super fight? I think Gordon and Penna was probably the most anticipated match. There was such a big buildup last time on their super fight, and they both kind of came up and had a great victory through the ADCC in 2019. And then they both kind of came together and had a crazy super fight together a couple weeks ago on Flow. So I think Gordon versus Felipe Penna in the division was the most highly anticipated match. But I think Gordon versus Nikki Rod was a close second. And Gordon just made him look terrible, as Gordon does. Frankie says, Super Highway, anyone from New Wave or B Team get bronze or silver other than Nikki Rod? Then Frankie says, Super Highway, what the fuck? I didn't type that. Okay, I can answer that. Giancarlo, who is representing New Wave Jiu-Jitsu, won the 88 kilogram division on one of the most dominant tournament runs of all time. A beautiful submission against Mateus Diniz and a beautiful submission against Lucas Hulk Barboza to take home gold in the 88 kilogram for New Wave. Obviously, Gordon won the 99 kilogram division, taking home another gold for New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. And Craig Jones got silver in the under 99 kilogram division for B Team. And Nikki Rod also got silver in the 99 plus kilogram division for B Team. Let me think. Anybody else? No, nobody that I could think of other than that. So, Frankie, I hope that answers your question. Make sure to fire a couple more off in my direction. I'm ready whenever you guys are ready. We are just waiting for the finals of the ADCC Absolute. Going back to Whiskey Dragonfly's question here, do you advise escaping from the Darce to frame on the inside, elbow to hip, or drive for a single leg? There's a great instructional from Malachi Friedman. I believe it's called the Darce Killer, where he goes over all of the defenses to the Darce, and that should be common reading material, especially because you see guys in the UFC like Hamza Chimaev literally just use a Darce for victory, and the Tyrotolo twins are throwing out Darce victories left and right here. So it's definitely something that's coming into the mainstream and something that needs to be understood and learned on how to properly defend. Kevy Metal says, if Ty just beat Marigali, then why would Marigali be in the final? Ty did not beat Marigali. Marigali won a referee's decision, and Marigali is in the final. Kevy, if you are looking and thinking about Swan's comment, it was confusing me at first too, but also remember that sometimes the semifinalists fight each other for the third place. So if you saw something about Ty fighting that, then that might be part of the confusion, but it looks like Marigali is going to be fighting Yuri Samoans. Man, I've been commentating for like over 6 hours today so far. I'm going to get some more water for myself. Let me answer this question before I go. Will Galvao fall victim to a leg lock like Gordon's previous two opponents? Seems like Danaher has created a leg lock monster, and the opposition is way behind in dealing with this attack. Well, interesting question, Derek. I know that thought definitely crossed my mind as well. And I believe it's going to be tough to be able to heel hook Galvao. I really believe Galvao has prepared to the nth degree on the leg attacks in this fight. Yes, Swan says Ty versus Cyborg are going to fight. Beautiful. Thank you, Swan, for clearing that up. I hope that answers Kevy's question as well, Kevy Metal. So I was there at the ADCC camp for Galvao, and I've never seen anyone prepare for anything harder in my entire life. Galvao eats, slept, and breathed in his preparation for Cyborg at the 2015 ADCC World Championships. It says Ty wins by forfeit on Flow. Gotcha for the third place fight. Thank you for that update, Swan. And I think that Galvao is really going to prepare adamantly for these leg locks. And, at some point you could start to basically have like immaculate leg lock defense. I think Galvao is just such a veteran that he's going to be very hard to leg lock. But then there becomes an interesting play here where Galvao is so good at maintaining top position and the standing position as well that what's Gordon's route to victory? So the leg lock conversation might be a serious conversation had, and the question of top position will be a major question that's had. Kevy Metal says, sorry, I'm a noob and follow Cheap Jew. I guess that's me. I guess I'm Cheap Jew. They're showing the absolute final now between Cyborg and Yuri. Frankie says, if Nikki Rod got heel hooked, so can Andre. Yeah, anyone could get heel hooked. Anyone could get caught in any submission. I just think Galvao did a lot of preparation in being able to defend those heel hooks. Going back to Kevy Metal's question, sorry, I'm a noob and fellow Cheap Jew. My apologies. If Ty defeats Marigali, judge's decision, why does the loser advance? Ty did not defeat Marigali. Marigali won, but the semifinalists, the guys who lost, which is Ty in this case, fights the other guy who lost the semifinal for third. And Cyborg gave up and forfeited and just let Ty take the third place medal. So there's no advancing. It's just the losers of the semifinals fight each other for the third place medal. Oh, and then Kevin Metal says, fellow. Yes, fellow. My apologies. Kevin Metal. All good, my friend. All good. No harm done. No harm done. All right, it looks like the absolute final is getting ready to begin here. And thank you, Kevin Metal. I appreciate you. I'm going to get some more water and stick with me for the updates soon to happen. Okay. Cool. All right. I appreciate whoever stuck around. Still got 34 viewers. Not bad. Not bad. Frankie says, who should you train with for Gordon Leglock defense? Paul Harris, Dean Lister, Ryan Hall, God. Sammy says, do you do BJJ? Yes, I've done jiu-jitsu for 15 years, and I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt, and I teach jiu-jitsu as my job and my source of income. I also train law enforcement, and I have some instructionals for sale in the description of this video. So I'm here to break down the fights and give my opinion on what's happening. To answer Frankie's question, Dean Lister is a great guy to train with, especially since he was doing the leg locks before they were cool, so to speak. But I feel like in a lot of ways the cat's out of the bag. And remember the opponents that Gordon got those heel hooks on. One was Nikki Rod, who has like 5 years experience in jiu-jitsu, and you really aren't able to have that veteran leg lock defense in such a short time training. And then a guy, I forgot his name, something Rodriguez or Sebastian something in the semifinals, where he was just not of the caliber of those top 10 guys in the world who have that incredible leg lock defense. So, keeping in mind that those opponents would be much more susceptible to heel hooks, you gotta know who you're fighting. You have to do reconnaissance and understand who you're fighting to understand what they might be susceptible to. And just because you saw it happen to those guys who look like unstoppable and tough, Andre Galvao is a different opponent. Now, with that being said, is it impossible for Andre Galvao to get heel hooked? Absolutely not. but I believe Gordon's last two opponents are much more susceptible to being heel hooked. Sammy says, do you think steroids definitely help in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Yes, I do. I was having a conversation the other day about this. I'm just going to go with yes. And Sammy says, and what kind of steroid cycles do these athletes go on getting ready for ADCC? That's a great question. I have a lot of friends that are into this, a lot of guys that are in the fitness realm. They got Yuri Samoans and Nicholas Marigale are starting to fight now, though, as the finals of the ADCC Absolute here. Really aggressive collar ties. Yuri Samoans comes out, clubbing Nicholas Marigale's head, really kind of slaps Marigali in the face. Frankie says, why doesn't Nikki Rod have a black belt? Well, he just hasn't been training long enough yet. And I believe there are still underdeveloped elements of Nikki Rod's games. For example, his guard play, I don't think is on the level of black belt, but you don't see him play guard in this tournament. He just uses his wrestling to be able to stay on top. Now, in truth and reality, there's no real like standard of what a black belt is, but a lot of times coaches will look for you to have well-rounded skills and time on the mat. And Nikki Rod is kind of lacking those. Yuri Samoans really slapping at Nicholas Marigali's head, and he gets a warning from the referee about doing this. Just to quickly answer Sammy's question, that there's not just steroid cycles people do. There's testosterone. There's other supplements, ostarine. There's so many different supplements that you could take that are not anabolic, that are not traditional steroids, that are natural steroids, that are supplements, and you could take those in addition. There's a whole world of supplements out there that you could take and you could do. Can a blue belt level no-gi guy soundly beat many purple belt gi BJJ guy? Thanks. Well, it really totally depends on the context of the situation. One standard weakness of gi guys, like you see Nicholas Marigale here, is they're not well trained in heel hooks, which is something that's not allowed in gi tournaments. So you see a lot of gi players are really not known for great knowledge in this category. And one of the great things about seeing Nicholas Marigale in this final is seeing his adaptation to go from gi to no gi. Derek Ross clarifies and he says, in a no-gi match. So this heel hook category is something that can be exploited upon from a blue belt that really does a lot of no-gi to a purple belt who does gi that doesn't understand. But with that being said, it would really depend on the type of people. Like, there's no universal standard for what a blue belt is, what a purple belt is, what a brown belt is, and what a black belt is. And the truth is that it's really just all a fallacy, and it's all made up, and belts really don't even exist. Of course, they exist in the physical sense, and that you're looking to, that you're looking to get your black belt one day, but they really don't mean anything as far as skill level or really any universal standard that you could apply to them. So back to the fight here. Nicholas Marigale pulls guard. I believe he gets a negative point for it. And interesting strategy here to take against Yuri Samoans, where this is a risky strategy. Being down a negative point is a scary thing to be in a final. There are sometimes entire matches won on a negative point. and especially with the way Yuri Samoans is being shirtless, a bunch of people have accused him in this tournament of even greasing his body. He's just so hard to be able to score on successfully. So this one negative point might mean the whole match for Yuri and Marigali, but we will have to see. Battle Brothers retracted his message, but I saw it. He said something about EPO could be a great thing for fighters to use as well, which was very true, Battle Brothers. Whiskey Dragonfly says, wild guess, how many ADCC first placers are on gear? Hush, hush, non-conspiracy. Probably all of them are on gear. Probably all of them. As Nate Diaz says, everybody's on steroids. Kevy Metal says, is greasing allowed? No, greasing is not allowed, but people still do it anyway. You're not supposed to be on steroids either, but people still do it anyway. And a tactic that a lot of people will use is they will put some of the product in their hair, or they'll put specific kinds of like hair gel in their hair. Oh, Nicholas Marigale looking to get underneath Yuri Samoans here. Beautiful stuff. In X-Guard now, looking to sweep Yuri Samoans. Breaks Yuri Samoans down to a knee. About 15 minutes left in this match here. Yuri Samoans gets a nice under scoop grip on Marigali's knee. But what sometimes people do is they put product in their hair, and then when they sweat, the grease comes down. So when they're initially tested for the grease, they're nice and dry. But as they sweat, the grease comes out of their hair, and it goes along the rest of their body. A classic old trick. Sammy says, how do guys like Andre get so ridiculously jacked? Do a lot of these athletes train like bodybuilders as well as combination with BJJ training? Yeah, guys like Galvao or Gordon, they also train with weights. And they also do a lot of steroids, like we were saying. Marigali here looking to sweep Yuri Samoans. Marigali's got such a beautiful guard. Oh, it looks like he does sweep Yuri Samoans. Amazing, Yuri Samoans isn't fighting the sweep more. Interesting. I guess they are still in the non-regulated points time. If you guys are watching, if anyone knows why Marigali has the negative points scored against him, please throw it in the comments and let me know. I am confused as to why that is. I got to watch it on no sound here, because if I put the sound on, YouTube will copyright this video and take it off of the internet. Marigali looking to pass here, coming through with a heavy knee slice. Marigali uses a knee slice variation here where it's a bit of a war of attrition, where he just stays in the knee slice position. Oh, beautiful. Now Marigali is using a great stacking position to look to pass Yuri Samoans' guard, where you pin the feet above the head. This is a great, great stacking positions. Huh. Frankie says New Wave gets 2 golds and B Team gets 2 silvers. How ironic. That actually is very ironic, Frankie. Great observation. Thank you for that. Marigali in this prime passing position, creating a sense of advantage, as I've been preaching, while he's in the guard to help him pass here. Yuri Samoans pummels his legs back into good position. Marigali pummels as well. Battle Brothers says, what about using deodorant? Do grapplers get stinky for competition? I have heard of the tactic of smelling like absolute shit for the tournament. I wouldn't recommend it and I don't really think it does much of anything. But I have heard of it as a tactic that people have used. Marigali settling down into the top of the half guard here. A good position for Marigali. When you're in half guard, you really want your body and chest to be on top of the bottom player, and you want to have a cross face and an underhook. Marigali has the cross face. He's working on the underhook right now. Again, if you are in the beautiful attempt here to make Yuri Samoans turtle, and then capitalizing on that into a half guard position. Again, getting chest to chest. A lot of times too, like you see Marigali getting close on this knee slice pass and getting close on the stack passing. And getting close on all these passes. That's a sign. That's a sign of pressure that a lot of times will result in an eventual pass. Oh, and Yuri Samoans is able to kick him off and get back to the standing position. I think Yuri was sensing that he was sinking a bit in the guard playing, and goes back to a standing exchange. And like I said, Marigali having this negative point could be a huge, huge outcome for this absolute final. Derek says, do knee braces really help when you roll when you have a nagging injury? Sure. Answering the questions in the middle of the absolute final. Why not? I think that knee braces are good in the sense that they really keep your knee stable and in one place. So if you have the type of knee injury that that requires some stability around it, I think it can be helpful. Me personally, I've never gotten a lot of help from knee braces, but I think they can be an effective tool, and there is a reason why people use them. And that stability of the knee could be important, especially if you have if you're coming back from like a knee surgery or you have some sort of knee injury. Making sure your knee stays in that stable position is really important, and the knee brace can be good for that. Kevin Fox says, according to the ADCC rules and regulations on the website, only negative points can be counted during the first 10 minutes. Interesting. And Derek, thank you for asking the questions. I don't know if that's 100% true, Kevin, though. I feel like I've seen negative points scored in the final 10 minutes. If anyone knows why Marigali has a negative point, though, I would like to know. Yes, Kevin clarified that in the first 10 minutes, there's no points. There's only negative points that can be scored. And then in the final 10 minutes, then positive and negative points can be scored. Thank you for that clarification, Kevin. That is my knowledge of what happens as well. And I appreciate your commitment to being correct. A lot of heavy collar ties here. 7 minutes, 13 seconds left in this fight. It's funny. Both of the fighters were about to go out of bounds in this sort of takedown pushing battle, and you saw everyone just scatter when they were going towards the out of bounds. But this is bad news for Marigali being down this negative point again. If anyone knows why he's got it, please let me know. Where it's just so hard to score on Yuri Samoans. Yuri Samoans, multiple-time ADCC champion, and just a very, very difficult guy to score on, especially shirtless, slippery, the whole 9 yards. Marigali pulls guard once again. Receives a negative point for it. So he's down 2 negative points. But if he could score here, he should still be in a good situation. But again, very hard to score, very hard to submit Yuri Samoans. To me, it looks like Yuri is 5 minutes and 43 seconds away to winning the ADCC absolute gold medal here. Frankie says, anyone that says BJ matches iron fights should feel an inside heel hook. I hear you, Frankie. I've definitely competed in jiu-jitsu tournaments where they felt like fights before, and I've competed in striking tournaments as well. I also have a black belt in karate, and I'm also a coach for MMA fighters, and I've also done kickboxing tournaments. And there's something to be said, though, Frankie, for being punched in the face. While I agree with you that I feel like all of these are fights, being punched in the face has a certain ring to it, a certain texture to it. Yuri Samoans is looking to do this arm weave pass where he is able to defeat the knee shield of Marigali, but man, it's just really so tough here to score on Yuri Samoans. Really, Yuri Samoans is doing a good job of making it seem like he's busy here, but he's really not doing much, just sort of riding out the clock. And it looks like he's getting warned by the referee for doing exactly that. Yes, Sammy, Andre Galvao versus Gordon Ryan is coming up next. Sammy says, woo! I agree, Sammy. I'm ready for today's jiu-jitsu matches to be over. But yeah, Yuri here is just sort of Yuri just sort of playing the rules here and making it look like he's busy, but not really being that busy in this fight versus Marigali. I mean, he looks like he's aggressively fighting towards the pass. Part of the problem, too, is Marigali's guard is virtually impossible to pass. No one has even gotten close to passing it today. Kevin Fox says, going back to knee injuries, do you think Nikki Ryan's multiple knee surgeries are going to be a hindrance going forward in his career? He didn't look great in his match. It's a great question and great observation, Kevin. Yes, I do think so. I saw Dylan Dennis's knee injuries, and he was literally moving his knee in and out where his tibia and fibia made like no connection to his knee. And up, Marigali pummeling his legs back into X guard here. It's a good sign that he's able to get underneath Yuri, and Yuri just pummels his leg back out. But I think that Nikki Ryan's career is basically over, unfortunately. I mean, I hate to say that. I never want to say anyone's career is over. I always am a believer in, if you work hard enough, you could become champion and all that stuff. But Nikki Ryan had multiple knee surgeries, coming back too early, having knee surgeries fail on him and having to try to get them again. How he looked in this ADCC, I told my close friends that I think Nikki Ryan's body just cannot handle the demands of competition. I think basically Nikki Ryan will just fade out into you not hearing from him again, and that it pretty much is over. And I hate to say that, but that is what I believe, and that's what I think. Frankie says, I hope the Gordon Galvao match doesn't end in controversy or injury, just a clean result. I hope so too. Kevin Fox says, it's a shame, and he retracted a message. Not sure what Kevin's talking about. Wiley Chan says, Ryan's going to clean house like him or not. I don't know. I think I got Gordon Ryan in this super fight. Sammy T says, will training biceps and triceps help for any portion of BJJ? Sorry for the random questions. I think that you could only get so far in the physical portion of increasing your physicality, but there is so much to be gained in the technical portion of jiu-jitsu. And I guess that concludes the match there. Yuri Samoans is given a penalty for his stalling, and when he wins the absolute final on 2 negatives from Marigali. Pretty anticlimactic of a victory, if you ask me. And just to make it official, they raise Yuri Samoans' hand. Not a bad run, though, for Marigali, getting second place in the absolute final. Kevin says about Nikki Ryan, it's a shame his career is pretty much over. I agree with you. Unfortunately, it is a shame, and I agree with you too. I think Nikki Ryan has such potential, but I just don't think his body is able to handle the demand that he has to put on it to be successful. Did any 10th Planet guys get medals? Not that I know of, but PJ Barge, who's a 10th Planet guy, upset 2-time champion JT Torres in a victory similar to Eddie Bravo versus Hoyler Gracie. And Sammy says, who do you think will be the physically stronger athlete between Andre and Gordon? I think Gordon will be stronger. Anyway, guys, I'm going to conclude this live. I got to save my voice for the Gordon versus Andre Galvao match. Please tune in to that one. I'm going to be live again soon. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm going to end this stream and start a new one. Thank you guys so much. Please make sure to tune in. Please throw me a subscribe. Much love. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, guys.